What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. My name is Jeremiah Wofford, and I am going to be talking to you today about the Athlete Games. Athlete Games are coming up later on this year, the end of August. Just a brief overview of those. We have 3 different workouts that we're going to be going through. First one is always the SAC, the strength and conditioning test that the trainers take, and then we have a second and a third round that are new to the trainers each year. So just a little background on myself and my experience with the games as a whole. This will be my 4th year working with Burn Bootcamp as a head trainer. I'm the head trainer at Burn Bootcamp South Park, but this will actually be only my 2nd year, fingers crossed, competing in the Athlete Games. The first year I started beginning like January, right before COVID, and then I trained for the Athlete Games, but it was something brand new to me, so I wasn't really sure of what the expectations would be. So I competed, did my best in that. And then year number 2 was kind of right in the middle of how the gyms were affected with COVID. So that year I decided to take the year off from training and competing for that, just because I felt like I was giving kind of everything I had to offer to the gym and getting it back to where it was. And then so this past year, year number 3, I was gung-ho ready to train for it. I trained 6 months up until, and then I actually tested positive for COVID the day before the Athlete Games. So that Friday I was training and I felt off, went home, tested positive, and that was kind of the end of the road for last year, which was pretty rough because I'd spent a lot of time training, a lot of time preparing for it, and I felt really confident about my performance at the time. So having that set me back was a bit of a blow, but you know, take it in strides, and we're back this year, hopefully gonna make it all the way. But let's see here. Let's talk about training a little bit. So this year, I feel like I've taken a little bit of a different approach to training for the Athlete Games. I wanted to be a little more sustainable, so I'm taking more of a slow and steady approach than waiting for the last few months right before to just kind of dive in and try to hit it all at once. So before I even knew what the workouts were at the beginning of this year, I just started doing a few extra workouts a week. I set a goal for myself to do 5 camps a week as just a baseline throughout the year. And then at the beginning of the year, I did 3 extra workouts on my own, just like 10 to 15 minutes, just working on kind of the basics of what I knew was going to be in that, which is mostly going to be the SAC, right? So spend the time doing push-ups and pull-ups and squats, working on burpees and mile times and things like that. But now it's kind of developed as it's gone. I tried to do it as naturally as I could. So I do about 3 weeks of extra training, and then I take a week off just because I do want it to be sustainable, and I want it to make sure that I'm not burning myself out on those workouts. So I do about 3 weeks, I do extra workouts, and then my 4th week, I go a lot lighter in camp. I'm not doing anything extra. I'm just really trying to focus on recovering and stretching and doing all those things that are going to help me for that next set of 3 weeks. During that time now, I've gone up to 4 extra workouts a week. Now that we have the workouts, they're all starting to meld into what those workouts are going to look like. But I, for one, am not good at doing the workout itself for this many months in advance. So I actually haven't done the Athlete Games workouts per se. I've done the SAC, obviously, but the 2nd and 3rd rounds I haven't done just straight up as they're written, but I have started to incorporate those exercises into my workouts just so that my body is familiar with them. And I'm still doing that same amount of volume that's going to be expected, but mentally I do a lot better, or I want to just get to the point where I step into that workout and I try it for the first time that I don't feel like I'm really far behind. So it kind of helps me if I'm kind of going in the back door, you know, practicing all the exercises without putting them together up until probably next month. And then I'll try to hit those workouts pretty hard. As far as any other skill development that I'm working on, I did take a look at the workouts, and I'm trying to take an approach to where anything that I feel is a weakness of mine, I'm working on as well. So one of those days each week of my extra workouts is focused on that. One day I'm really working on grip strength. So I feel like the second workout this year has a lot of grip strength. You're holding dumbbells the entire time. So last month I incorporated a half-mile farmer's carry, which is not fun, to say the least. It took me about 14 to 15 minutes to walk a half mile, I think, the first time. With those dumbbells, I took the lunge weights and I just carried them. And every time I had to stop, you know, shake it out, pick them up until I hit that full half mile. But I did see a big change in my grip strength from doing so. My pull-ups and chin-ups and things like that were getting a lot easier, and I was getting more reps in a row. So definitely something, if you feel your grip strength is something that struggles, that's a great way to start working on it. And now doing the same thing, but working on a different positioning with the hands. So it's not just working my wrists the whole time. Moving on from kind of the physical training aspect to the mental training aspect. I would say it's something that's probably not thought about or maybe it is, I'm not sure, but probably to most of your members, they don't think necessarily about the mental training aspect of competing in the athlete games, and not even just competing, just prepping for it. Like this is just one part of your day that you're working towards something months away. You're still working full time. You still have things going on in your life. So there's all these things happening. And if your mind is not in it when you're going to practice, it can be very hard to push yourself to the max, to that 100%, to where you're seeing that improvement every single time. So that, for one, is kind of why I do the 3 weeks on, 1 week off, so that I have time to take a step back and assess how I'm feeling and make sure in that week that I'm off, I'm handling anything else that needs to be done. I also had some things going on personally in my life recently, so that's been something I've had to kind of juggle with, like, am I in the place to push myself today the way that I need to, or is this the week that I need to take that week off? Or kind of really taking time to listen to how your body's feeling and how you are feeling mentally as well. I currently am in the process of trying to find a therapist, just because, we work in a business where we're constantly pouring into ourselves, or into our members, into our gyms. Like, I feel like as trainers, I know that we spread ourselves very thin. And with the games, this is something that you have to be able to pour all of your effort into if you really want to succeed in that. So I would like to find just some help to where am I in the right mindset? Am I speaking to myself the way that I should be in order to see that progress, and honestly to support myself in the games? Because I know when I was first doing it the first year, my brain would immediately go, as soon as I would struggle, into, oh, you can't do this. You can't complete all those reps in a row. And that was when I would see that I wasn't getting where I wanted to be. But thankfully right now I feel like I'm in a good place as far as not being negative in my mindset when I am getting that struggle. But that can be a hard place to stay. So I'm really hoping to find something that's going to help me keep that mindset, because I'm about to take on a new role with my gym as well. So adding even more responsibilities on top of that is going to, I'm sure, be very demanding. As far as challenges go and overcoming obstacles, I wouldn't say I've had too many like physical setbacks necessarily. Obviously, COVID last year was a setback, but it kind of was good for me mentally, because now I feel like I've just been prepping even longer for this year. I did have a little bit of an injury in my wrist at the beginning of the year when we had a physical fitness challenge here with one of our promotions. It was when we were trying to go super heavy, and they were doing like max reps of 5. So then holding really heavy dumbbells, trying to deadlift, and then going right into training and lifting really heavy dumbbells on people's shoulders. I strained my wrist a little bit, but I took a few weeks off from doing any pull-ups or push-ups, and I started wearing a brace when I was doing anything extra, and I think we're back to normal now. So biggest thing is paying attention to your body, making sure you're not overdoing it, and when that limit is getting close to being hit, making sure you're taking the steps and the precautions to take care of your body during that time. But looking ahead, I'd say as far as goals and expectations for these games, I'm not necessarily going into it with the mindset of, oh, I have to win, I have to be the best. I don't feel like I personally benefit from that mindset, because it gets to be like almost a pass fail. Like if I don't do this, then that means I've failed, or if I don't hit this certain ranking in the end, then I've wasted my time, kind of thing, and that's not where I want to be, and that's not going to actually get me to want to be better at this time. So my goal, my mindset behind it is I want to step into the regionals, and I don't want it to be, I want to make it look easy, I would say. Obviously they're challenging workouts, and I'm going to, no matter what, they're written so that the harder you try, the harder they're going to be, right? So I don't say that in any aspect of the fact that I probably will look like I'm dying the entire time. But I want to step in, and I want to know that I can complete everything with complete confidence, and know that I have put everything into it. And when I step off the floor, no matter what, I want to know that I did that, and I didn't make it look as challenging as it probably feels inside. So really hoping to keep progressing, keep adding on, keep melding those workouts that I'm doing into matching those athlete game workouts. And then I'm just hoping to, do my best. That's really all you can ask at the end of the day, is put in your all, and hopefully hope that your body shows up. Because part of the struggle too is learning to compete. And unfortunately with the athlete games, you get one shot, right? So it's once a year, you show up, and some days your body feels like it's 100% there. Some days it feels like it's 70, some days it feels like it's 20. So it's going to take some time to mentally practice showing up on a competition day, and hoping that I could do that successfully so that when I get there, I feel comfortable and my body is right there with me along the way. I don't know that I have any specific strategies or tactics when it comes to that. It comes to actual competition day. I think the biggest thing is just going to be making sure that the routine I have when it comes to working out, as far as sleeping and timing my eating and all those things, are just set in stone, and I can do that exactly as I do every other day. Because I know just being consistent in that kind of training, as well as just the physical training, is what's going to make me successful in the time. Other than that, though, I think that's about it. It kind of gives you a synopsis of where I've been with my training in the games, without giving out too many of the secrets as far as what I'm actually doing to train. But at the end of the day, not like it really matters, because if you don't put the work in, you're not going to see that success anyway. But hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you are planning to sign up for the games if you're a trainer. If you're on the fence about it, I would highly, highly suggest doing it. No matter what you think the outcome is going to be, having that competition or having that goal to work towards has always made me that much stronger, that much better of a trainer, that much better of part of my community as my gym. And that's a great thing too, is with your gym, your members really come to support you, and they really respect you for pushing yourself out of those comfort zones that you have, considering that's what we ask them to do all the time. All right, so sign up if you haven't already. If you're on the fence, sign up anyway, no matter what. And then besides that, hopefully we'll see you competing come August. All right, also, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. And then as always, we're going to end it with 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.